Within the first few months of coming to the church, it was our first campaign of Israel, and we sacrificed for a financial life which improved and everything was going on fine.
So after the house, our next aim was to have our own child. So within myself, I knew that there's nothing wrong in me, but I knew there's something spiritual, because it's been happening in my husband's life as well. His family, like his sister had a problem for years on, like she conceived after like around 10 years. So I knew there was a spiritual problem. So then I said to myself, if there's something relating to me, I need to sacrifice.
That stage, like in 2013 in June, when the campaign was announced, I wanted to take part, but my wife said that let me take part, let me change in some way.
During the campaign, I sacrificed all of my wages, all my savings, whatever I had in my account. I just said, I just need to give it on the altar and just, have faith in God. God will do the rest. Even if the bills and everything, it was only on Him now.
You also sacrificed
I had gold which was given to me by
bangle.
our parents. I sold that, and that money also I put it on the altar, because I had faith that there will be a result, and the result will be positive.
And when I saw my wife taking this decision of sacrificing all the savings, her monthly wage, at a stage when we had just bought our house, and we had to pay our bills and the mortgage and everything, I didn't stop her in any way. I said, go ahead with everything. God will take care of us in whatever way it is. And when I saw her at that time, I felt that she has really gone crazy the way she sacrificed. Like, I didn't feel that it is my same wife whom I know. Because after deciding to give away all savings and wages, one day she tells me that 3 days before the final day of putting the sacrifice on the altar, that I want to sacrifice my gold bangle. And so I was wondering that, is she like going to empty everything? I said, okay, no problem, just go for whatever you decide.
Because the gold doesn't make any value if you have your
the
own,
money would not be any useful
happiness
for us. The gold bangle would not be useful for us, because our aim was to have our own baby.
Own child.
And the amount that she put on the altar and she sacrificed, I think if we had to do a IVF treatment to conceive and to have a baby, I think that would cost much more than what we
all the pains
sacrifice and all the pains, hassles we would have to go through. But here God
just blessed us naturally.
Blessed us.
Well, after deciding to put everything on the altar, which I did, and then after that, obviously, we had difficulties because we had bought a new house. How are we going to pay our bills? But somehow, I don't know how this was taken care of. We tried and managed to juggle with money.
Just from one
salary. Things started to move on. God knows how it happened. God only knows. But it's still, I just said it was going to happen. It's going to happen. And we started paying the bills slowly, gradually. Money started coming in. And then we were happy that, yes, we are doing the right thing. There were difficulties. There were times where we had to pay with the credit card and to think how we are going to get that money back to put it back on the credit card. We didn't know about it.
And in fact, at that time of the sacrifice, we had to renew our visa as well, the work visa. And we had to pay a big amount for our visa. But still, today, if we think that how we managed it, we can't think about it, because only God knows
God's hand was there in it.
How we managed it.
He gave us the wisdom how to do things.
Welcome and good evening. Welcome to Finding Answers. Now, the two young ladies that are sitting here with me, I'd like the camera to show them now. By the way, good evening. Sarah and Kediatu, right? These two young ladies were sexually abused at a very young age. And I think the first thing that comes to mind is, why? What did they do to deserve that? Of course, the answer to this question is nothing. And even if a person is, problematic and has a bad, negative character, not a child, a person, even then, they don't deserve something like that happen to them. But just like we asked the question, what did they do to deserve what happened to them? And we'll be hearing about this story a little bit later. Perhaps there are things that have happened in your life that you keep asking the same thing. You ask yourself, what have I done to deserve such pain? Because perhaps for you who live in this pain, they cut my head. You see, I knew they were going to cut my head. Anyway, but to you who have gone through this pain and are going through this pain, you say, what have I done to deserve this? What did I do to suffer with so much pain in my life? And the truth is you don't have an answer to that. Perhaps you say, look, I'm not a saint. I have made some mistakes, but I don't know why I'm struggling like this. And the truth is that it's not that you've done something. It's not that you were born to suffer or you were predetermined, predestined to suffer. I don't believe in that. I believe everybody has a chance to change their life. Everybody has a chance to make things different, no matter what they tell you. And I'm going to be honest with you. There are religions that tell you that if you suffer, it brings you closer to God. Please read my lips. This is baloney. I'm sorry, but the Bible doesn't say anything about you suffering, bringing you closer to God. It says the opposite. It says that He, the Lord Jesus, suffered so that you don't have to suffer. He suffered, He paid the price so that you don't have to do that. And maybe you feel like you're paying the price right now. You feel like we were saying earlier, what have I done to deserve this? What did I do to deserve this pain? Why is it that nobody likes me? Why is it that nobody commits to me? Why is it that no matter how hard I try, how hard I fight, how much effort I put into things, I always get back pain? And I don't believe for 1 second, I don't believe for 1 second that people are born to suffer, no matter where they are, no matter where you live, no matter your background. I don't believe for 1 second. And even if you take God out of the equation, even if you're not a person who believes in God at all, I mean, does it make sense that we were born to suffer? I don't think so. I don't think you were. I don't think I was. And sometimes all you need is to have someone help you put a full stop to that suffering, a full stop to that pain that you're going through. And if you are going through that pain now, if you are saying, James, I often ask myself, what have I done to deserve this? Was I put on this earth to suffer? Is it that everybody has a chance, gets a chance to find happiness and I don't? I don't think that this is the case. I believe that things can change for you. I want to show you this video that we prepared talking about a balanced life, because at the end of the day, happiness comes from having a balance in life, a balance in your family, a balance in your faith, in your health. All these things are important. Have a look, we'll come back, and I'll be chatting in a few moments with Esther, who is here with us, as usual, every evening. We're going to be talking about this. I'll be right back.
And somehow, amidst all this focus on catapulting our career, we're supposed to still find room for family, friends, unusual vacations, outside interests. I mean, is there anybody in this room who doesn't feel as if they just got too many balls in the air? Stop me if I'm wrong. And it's not easy for any of us to keep our balance. I mean, especially in light of all of the political upheaval and corporate restructuring, trying to find some way to smoothly align our professional goals, financial planning, family priorities, and personal needs is quite a puzzle. Just trying to keep track of all the separate items that just seem to show up on our to-do list. Not to mention our didn't-do list.
If we can just step back and shift our perspective, have that resilience, that resourcefulness, and find the courage, what Hemingway called grace under pressure, to let go
a feeling that we have to do it all alone. And to get it, that even on the outside, though it might look like magic, at the base, there's something solid. Principles we can count on, relationships we can rely on, something we can believe in that's larger than ourselves. When we're able to hold that center, we don't have to really believe in magic. Because it turns out that the real magic is in believing.
Welcome back. Esther, what do we do if we want to have a more balanced life?
Well, as you can see from the video, there's a lot of things to juggle, and often we neglect some areas of our life. So we might have a fantastic love life or a fantastic financial life, but we're really unhealthy. So as you were saying earlier, Pastor, for pure, complete happiness, you need a full package of a balanced life. So there are many things you can do. It depends on which area you're trying to fix or make better.
Now, you were saying something that's important, because you said there's a lot of components to life, right? A lot of things to try to juggle. And sometimes you can juggle some things. Sometimes you can't juggle everything at the same time. It's difficult to get a balance sometimes, right?
Yeah, and that's when it all falls down, usually on the kitchen floor, and then you have to pick it all up again. But sometimes maybe that happens for a reason as well. Maybe you've got so much going on right now that you just can't cope. Maybe you're going to hit rock bottom. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Everything's going to fall, and then you pick them up one by one, or maybe you tackle it, before they fall.
Yeah.
It depends how you deal with it, really.
And I think the hardest thing, I mean, you can cope and you can try to overcome situations that you have a certain kind of control over. The problem is, I mean, going back to the story of the two girls that we have here with us, they were sexually abused as young girls. They're still very young girls, but they were younger, they were children. I mean, what do you say to that? I mean, how do you prevent that? I mean, you can put steps in place, but what could they have done to prevent that from happening? The answer is nothing. Themselves as children, absolutely nothing. And there are things that happen in your life that you say, James, there's nothing I could have done to prevent this. It's one of those unexpected things, and I sometimes wonder, as you were saying at the beginning, what did I do to deserve this? Because I don't think that I was born to suffer, and neither do I. And this goes back to what a lot of people believe in terms of religion. Listen, I don't believe, and we in our church, we don't believe that anybody was born to suffer. And you would have to really fight hard to make me believe otherwise, and still you would not succeed, because I don't believe that. In fact, the Bible calls the Gospels the good news. Good news. Now, if someone tells you that God wants you to have pain because he had pain, or he wants you to be in misery because he was in misery, which, by the way, he never was. But if anyone tells you that, is that good news? How can that be good news? If someone tells you that you've messed up beyond repair, there's nothing you can do to fix the damage you've caused, how is that good news? What I know is that the prostitute who came to Jesus, even her, she was forgiven. So how can you tell me that your life has no way of being fixed? It has. You can fix that problem. And no matter what anyone tells us, no matter the problem that you say to me that you're going through, no matter what you write on an email and send here to me that your life is beyond repair, it's too messed up, I will never stop believing, ever, that your life can change. Just before we go to the break, in our evening service tonight, we had a couple who took part of the campaign of Israel. They were married for 15 years, and then everything started to go downhill. She filed for divorce. He left the house. They were separated for 6 months. They never wanted to see each other again. But through the power of faith, by taking part of the campaign of Israel, their situation changed. Today, their marriage is wonderful. It's a blessing. So you tell me, what is the lost case that God can sort out? You're going to hear the story of these girls, but if you say, James, I used to think, until now, until you just said that, I used to think that I was born to suffer. I used to think that my life there's no solution. There's no tool to fix the damage, the hole that my life is in, the pit that my life is in. Esther, mentioned rock bottom. Perhaps you've hit rock bottom and you didn't know there was anything under the rock bottom, but you kept on falling. That's how bad your life is. But things can change. Listen, if you feel like that, get in contact with us. And if you want to speak to us on air, you can. If you want to speak to us off air, there are right now a team of pastors ready to speak to you. If you want to put that on an email and tell us what you're going through. In fact, today I received an email from someone in a detention center. Someone who's going through a lot. And if you want to speak to us, feel free. The email address is help, look how easy it is, help@findinganswers.tv, help@findinganswers.tv. So go on, you that are at the bottom of the pit, you feel that you were born to suffer, you were born to be unhappy. I want to prove you otherwise. You can call us as well, 020-7686-6300, 020-7686-6300. We're going to go into a break. When we come back, we'll be hearing the amazing stories of Sarah and Cadiato. Don't go anywhere.
As a man, I understand the struggles men like me go through. They need to be strong always and not to show any weakness, even though it's there. To be a leader to our family, to our wife and kids, when we really wish someone else would show us the way. To choose what is right in a world of wrongs. To admit to our mistakes when our egos don't want us to be exposed. To learn to be a man when we're still only a boy inside. Being a man is not easy. But hard is also a part of being a man. We don't like anything easy. We want challenges. We want to prove that we can do it. That we are bigger than the problems staring us in the face. That's why we go to the moon, we climb the Everest, we sail around the world, and build fast cars. We like the feeling of accomplishment. And please don't ever tell us it can't be done. We will die trying. Being a man is not easy, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And yet, the true conquest of a man is not measured by his money, power, or fame. His greatest achievement is to overcome himself.
They say that home is where the heart is, a place that should be filled with joy, security, happiness, and memories. However, sometimes our own blood is the cause of most of our pain. Before you lose hope, try this. Every Thursday, come and pray for your family and receive the guidance and support that could help you all reconnect again. After all, no amount of success can compensate for a broken family.
You know, in black and white, we know how our life would have to be if we were to have balance, right? You know you would need to have enough time for your family, time for your career. But when you wake up in the morning and you leave your home and you go and you try to do things to have that balance, a lot of times you don't do that. For example, a balanced diet. We hear that a lot, right? You should eat a balanced diet. And you sort of know what it is. You know, different colors in terms of vegetables and the whole thing. But who really eats a balanced diet? Right, Esther?
Yeah, no, I don't think busy people eat a balanced diet. I think it's people who've got time on their hands. I agree with you. I think it's really difficult to, reassess your situation and go, what am I not giving love and attention to? But we're very, very interested in hearing what area of your life suffers. If, for example, you have a bad day, do you skip your exercise? Do you eat unhealthy? What's the thing that suffers the most when you're not feeling yourself? So just drop us an email, that would be great, and we'll read it out on the show and have a chat. It's help@findinganswers.tv, the usual email address there.
And you were saying that usually when people have a bad day, they do something which is quite unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
And I think most people do that. It's when they're upset with something, they go out and buy a huge tub of ice cream and eat that in one go.
It never helps. The ice cream never helps.
I know someone who does that, right? And you're looking at him, but that's not because of a bad day. Sometimes you just feel like you've exercised quite a lot, so you can give yourself that little extra guilty pleasure. But the thing is, in life in general, if you have a part of your life that is unbalanced, usually something else starts to suffer. Like the guy who was juggling all those things in the beginning. If he puts too much attention on one ball, then all the other ones are going to fall to the ground. And perhaps that's maybe how you feel right now in your life. But let's turn our attention now to these two young ladies who are here with us. I've introduced them at the beginning. So here they are again, Sarah and Kadiatu. Who wants to start? Sarah. Sarah, tell me something. I know that your story, both of you, is actually quite similar. Okay? And actually you look very similar as well. But tell me something. For you, how did the abuse start? I mean, talk us through that. What happened?
Well, it started from a really young age. Well, I know I was definitely under the age of 12. And when it was going on, I knew it was wrong, but obviously I didn't have a voice then, so I didn't have anything to say about it. So it just carried on. It went on for a little while, and then I moved obviously to this country. And when I moved here, I started, even before I moved, I started to see myself wanting God's attention a lot.
So before we go to that,
yeah.
So when you say this went on for a while, the sexual abuse, how long?
2 years, 3 years. I know it went on for quite a while because I'm not sure exactly when it started, but I know it was definitely around the age of 8 to 9, 10. So,
but you remember it vividly?
Yeah, definitely.
And this person, was it someone that you knew, someone you trusted in your family?
Yeah, it was my...
you don't have to say who it was, but someone was in your circle of friends.
Oh yeah, my
and
family.
relatives. Okay.
Yeah, my family.
So the question I have for you is, what did you do to deserve that?
I don't remember doing anything. I was just a normal, girl in my family that just wanted to be close with their family. And
you were a
stuff like
child.
that. Exactly.
So the answer to that question is you didn't do anything wrong. And even if you did, it doesn't justify anything, anything like what happened to you. Now, when you said you came to this country and after a while you started wanting the attention of boys, why was that? I mean, did that abuse do something to you in terms of who you were?
Yeah, for me, even before I came to this country, it was before I came to this country, I could see myself having the effects of the abuse. I wanted guys' attention a lot.
Why? If a man, was it a man that took advantage of you? If a man took advantage of you and that hurt you, why did you want the attention of boys, of the male?
I just felt like it was because I liked the attention I got from my brothers, even because I was close. I was really close to them. So I just wanted that attention more. Like it wasn't like, oh no, because they did that to me, I'm gonna hate. Because I just thought it was natural. I just thought it was something that it's done normally. I just didn't see anything bad about it. So I really wanted that attention more. So I just went out like at a young age, dating people who were like 2-3 years older than me and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, why do you think you did that? Was it, you said you liked the attention, you thought it was normal, but why do you think it became such an important thing for you?
Because I don't know. I just saw it as like, because I wanted to fulfill my desires that I wanted, because obviously they did that to me, I just wanted more and more of it. So that's why I felt like, you know what, I'm going to go out there and get it for myself, kind of thing.
So what, was it that you were looking for affection? Do you think what it...
Yeah.
Okay. So as you got into these relationships, I mean, how did your life progress from that?
To be honest, it wasn't progressing anyway because I was young and my mind and my view to life was beginning to expand quicker than it's supposed to be. Because, you know, at a young age, people tend to see you as, oh, so innocent, doesn't know anything. But like, because as well, I was tall as well when I was younger. So people would often look at me and think, oh, wow, she's probably older than her age. But because of the abuse that I went through and the way I started to see things, it allowed me to want more and more and to like not care about anything, just to want more and more. And yeah.
So how painful, I mean, during the years, did you remember what had been done to you as a child? Did that cause hurt and pain to you?
To be honest, like before I came to the church, I didn't like holding grudges. That's one thing I did. I just naturally didn't like it.
Right.
But it was just the pain that I felt. Like, I was like, why would they do this to me? Like, what did, like, I started to question myself. What did I do to them? Like, why did this happen to me? Kind of thing. Like,
did you ever confide in anyone, to tell anyone what happened to you?
To be honest, no, because I was like, this is embarrassing, I don't want to say it, like what are they going to think? And then I didn't want to tell like anyone else because I was thinking, would they go up to the person and speak to them and stuff like that? I didn't want to say anything to them.
Right.
It was only after that I overcame the pain and stuff like that, that's when I was able to speak to someone in my family about it.
But you mentioned, you said now that you know, it was embarrassing. You didn't do anything wrong. It shouldn't have been embarrassing. But what you said now is very common for people who have been abused to say on this program. We have a lot of people who have been abused who come on this program and they say the same thing, which if you think about it doesn't make any sense, but only a person who's been through that can really understand. And that's why you said that you felt embarrassed to talk about it, right? So what about you, Kadiatou? What was your experience, your story?
Well, for me, it started at the age of 6, 7 years old. I was sexually abused by my cousin who was a female. And for me, like what Sarah said, for me, I thought it was normal. It was something normal. So I didn't open up to anyone. I didn't tell anyone because I thought it was just normal. Because I was a child as well, I didn't know much. I just continued, you know, doing like normal things because I didn't think it was anything. But for me, it didn't go on as long as it went for Sarah because I came here at the age of 9. So when I came here at the age of 9, I started going to school and then I went into secondary school. So when I got into secondary school, that's when things started changing for me because I got bullied in school. Like, there are times that I would go home, I'll act all innocent, like nothing happened, but then as soon as I get into the bedroom, I'll start crying because of what happened in school. I was being called names in school. So many things happened to me. There was a time even where I got followed to my house as well but that time there was no one at home. So like for me, it made me really sad. I thought there was something wrong with me. But then at the same time, I started developing feelings as well for guys and girls as well. I started liking girls. I didn't date girls, but I would flirt with girls. I would let them touch me. And the same what Sarah said with guys as well. I knew so many guys. For the fact that I would flirt with so many guys, for me it was like I was attached to them. I wanted that.
Why do you, again, same question, right? Because but in your case was different because you said you were abused by a female, right, in your family. I mean, but why did you feel the need to have the attention from all these guys? Why were you confused about what you wanted? Why do you think that was? I mean, did you remember what happened to you? Did you carry that with you daily, that pain of having been abused?
Yeah, for me, I used to think, oh, maybe because I was abused by a female, maybe it's normal for me to like other females. So I used to like females. And for me, the guys, I just wanted that attention. Because I was bullied in school, I thought maybe if I knew so many guys, maybe I wouldn't get bullied. Maybe if I knew these guys, maybe I would date some of them. Maybe I wouldn't, you know, feel the way that I feel. So like the times where boys would say things to me like about my body, or maybe the way that I looked, like that would get me so happy. Like, yeah, at least there's the guys out there that's saying things to me that is actually pleasing me. So that's how.
Sorry to continue on you, but I had to stop you there, because the fact that someone paid attention to you, to your body or the way you looked, made you happy, right? And you shouldn't be like that, because you should be happy for who you are, right? You should be happy with the way that you are. I know that nobody's body is perfect, no one. But you have to be happy with who you are, because otherwise you end up like you. And maybe you say, James, but hold on a second. Her problem's a lot deeper because she was abused. I understand that. I'm just giving you an example. And in spite of you doing all that and getting attention from guys, from girls also, did that make you happy?
For me, it didn't really make me happy on the inside. It was just what they were seeing, if that makes sense. So, like, for example, when I would speak, like for me, I would speak to guys before I sleep. I would speak to guys on Facebook. The times where I would even finish my cousin's credit just to speak to guys. For me, it was all about guys, because I was getting that attention. There are times where I would go out, I would even say to myself, when I go out, a guy's gonna speak to me. Sometimes it's not just guys my age, but guys older than me will speak to me. I would get guys like following me, and I would give them my numbers. Even though I know I wasn't allowed to speak to guys, for me it was just inside of me. I just wanted them. I just wanted them to say things to me. I just wanted to like speak to them, because things that they would say to me will make me happy. But then at the end of the day, I wouldn't be happy, because when I go to sleep, I'll cry because of things that, you know, I've actually experienced, things like that. So I would speak to them, but it wouldn't really help, because there are times that when I would go to sleep, I'm not happy.
Am I right in thinking that you turned to stealing as well?
Yeah. So I started like stealing, because at home I wasn't getting as much money wise and things like that. So I wasn't getting the way that I would see other girls in school dressing and so on, I would think, okay, maybe I want to dress the same way. So then I started stealing. Like, my friends would tell me, oh, you can go steal, nothing will happen to you. So I would steal, I would get things for myself, like clothes, but then my auntie that I was living with wouldn't know. So at home I was like an angel. They would say things to me, like, I was so quiet at home, that's the thing.
Until one day you got caught, right? Okay. Now, you know, all these things you're saying shows that there was a deeper problem. There was a root to that problem. And your stories are amazing. We're going to hear in a while how you changed your life, because you carried this pain with you. The fact that you were seeking attention from boys, from, in your case, girls as well. And we're not disputing sexuality here. What we're talking about is that there was something essentially inside of you that had never been dealt with, which was the pain of what happened to you, right? And that's perhaps what's happening to you as well, because something happened that scarred you, that hurt you. Something you said, I don't deserve what happened to me. And because you've never dealt with that, the way for you to deal with this is to go and find other problems. Like, actually, it's like the example of the ice cream that we were talking about, Esther, right? It's like we say, look, because I have this problem, I'm just going to go and do something else which doesn't help. It actually causes a bigger problem, but at least I'll forget about what's happening to me. So their example is like a bigger, much larger scale example of the ice cream we were giving earlier.
Yeah, it has like a chain reaction effect, doesn't it? Something happens and then you look for something else in another way. And it's all to do with life balance as well, actually. Because you were both of you were concentrating on men and the attention and the love from there. You know, you probably weren't thinking about your health or your family much or your exercise and all the rest of it. So you can get caught up in stuff, definitely.
Yeah. So your life was completely out of balance, right? Okay, we're going to go into a break. When we come back, we're going to hear how these amazing young women changed their life through the power of faith. Also, later on, we'll be telling you about the campaign of all campaigns, the campaign of Israel in the Temple of Solomon. We'll tell you more about that in just a few moments. We'll be right back.
The greatest campaign of faith of all time.
nosso Deus, passaremos uma madrugada inteira clamando.
E é por isso que nós estamos aqui.
Ó Deus da riqueza, ó Deus da sabedoria.
Para dissipar as obras das trevas que lhes atingem.
Responda,
nós te pedimos, consagra, meu Deus.
Nós profetizamos e determinamos que
se tem que sacrificar tudo.
to see things that we have never seen before.
Why is this the greatest campaign? Because it will take place in the Temple of Solomon. Take a look at this promise. Now my eyes will be open and my ears attentive to prayer made in this place. For the first time ever, bishops from all over the world, together with Bishop Macedo, and pastors from all over the world will be united in one faith and one spirit on the greatest altar of God here on earth. Mexico, Bishop Paulo. Portugal, Bishop Julio. USA, Bishop Romaldo. South Africa, Bishop Marcelo Perez. England, Bishop Junior. The greatest campaign of faith of all time. At the Temple of Solomon.
Now, people normally think that there's no greater influence as powerful as Hollywood, but I beg to differ because Godlywood is really making its mark in the world. Now, for those of you that don't know, Godlywood is an initiative aiming to lead women of all ages to become exemplary women of God. We teach women how to make a positive impact in their own lives and their families through monthly tasks and meetings. And one of the great things about Godlywood as well is that we also learn to be giving, so we go out and help our communities. And one of the ways we do that in the UK through regular visits to elderly homes to pamper them and to keep them company. We also have regular events to help abused women, and we have many more plans to help our community. I ended up overcoming lots of insecurities and bad habits, and I've grown so much, and one of the things that I finally beat was the shyness that I had, and I'm doing things that I never ever imagined that I would be doing. And we have many more plans to help our community. So to summarise everything, Godlywood really changes lives, and I'm so privileged to be a part of it.
Welcome back. Now I have here Sarah and Kadiatu. You've been listening to their story, hopefully their amazing story. But the story gets more amazing because you've overcome the hurt and the damage that the abuse has caused to them from the past. Now girls, we don't have a lot of time, but I want you to tell me first of all how you came to the church and how it was that in the church you managed to overcome the trauma and how you are today.
Okay, so I came to the church via Facebook. So I was on Facebook just, browsing, doing the whole thing. And I kept refreshing my page and I was seeing stuff about the youth group and I was just like, what's this about? And luckily for me, I knew someone who attended my college that went to the youth group. So I spoke to them about it and they told me to come on a Wednesday to the youth group. They had a seminar there. And then after the seminar we spoke and everything, and then I started coming regularly and everything. Mm-hmm. And through just coming, there was just my first day alone, there was something different, amazing about the place when I first stepped in. So that definitely I'm gonna start coming, I'm gonna start taking doing a chain of prayer and stuff like that. So I used to come Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays. And when I was coming, I was hearing the teaching and stuff like that. But one thing that stood out for me was the fact that when I was coming, they kept talking about like the addictions that you have. So addictions with masturbation and stuff like that. So I just thought to myself, you know what, like I felt like, hey, why are they like talking about me? Because that's something I was addicted to. So I was like, this is weird. Like, why are they speaking about me? So I started to take things seriously. It took me a while to open up, to be honest, because I was a bit skeptical about everything. I was like, okay, who do I open up to, stuff like that. So one day I opened up. I spoke to them. I spoke to the pastors about it and said how I was sexually abused before and everything. And just by doing that, I was able to overcome the pain, because it's like you have to let it go. Because one thing that stood out for me as well was, if God can forgive your sins, even though like you've committed so many things and stuff like that, why can't you forgive that of someone who's hurt you? So I just that instantly stood out for me, and I was like, you know what, I have to do something, because I don't hold on to grudges. Even though I had the pain within me, I had to let go one way.
But I imagine it was something that it had to be God helping you, because you couldn't get rid of that before, right? No, your way of dealing with this before was getting attention from boys. This time you went to the root of the problem by learning to use your faith, and you overcame that. And today, do you still need to seek attention from boys?
No, not at all. Like sometimes I just don't even like think about it, because like one thing I've learned as well, when you have goals and targets to reach, things that are a distraction are not a distraction no more for you, because you know you're reaching somewhere, you need to get to somewhere, so you're not even going to let no little thing come in your way. So definitely not a distraction.
You've overcome that completely.
Definitely.
Great. Your abuse that happened to you doesn't hold you back.
No,
great.
Not at all.
What about you, Kadiatu?
Because when I first came to the country, I was staying with my auntie, but then things happened, and then I had to move in with my dad and my stepmom. So when I moved in with them, I wasn't the best child either, because I would disrespect my stepmom, so many things. And then one day, my auntie's sister invited her to the church in Plaster. And then she invited my stepmom, but my stepmom couldn't go that day. I remember it was on a Wednesday, she couldn't go. And she invited me. She said I can go with her instead. But for me, I thought it was just going to be another church, one more day, and that's it. I didn't think I was actually going to stay. So I went with her that Wednesday. Everyone looked so nice. Everyone was speaking to me. Hi, you know, so many things. And then I started attending the youth group as well. But for me, because of what happened, because I was bullied and so on, I wasn't really confident. I was a shy person. I wasn't able to speak up to no one. My case was different, because I didn't open up straight away. Instead, I was acting like an angel. Instead, I would pretend like everything was okay for me. Everything was okay. When people would even ask me, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Like, so
sorry, I want to do something. Can we open up this camera? Let's do something here, please. If we can, I'm going to stand up. Let's see if we can. If they're not going to cut my head. 1, 2, 3. Let's try. Slowly. Keep going. Okay, I cut my head a little bit anyway. Come here, please, Kadiatu. Come here. I want to show you something. You were saying that you were coming to church, but behaving like an angel. Like everything was fine, perfect. There was nothing wrong with you. And that's the problem. The problem with many people is this. They say, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. Because I believe in God, He has to help me. At some point, He will. I don't need help. And that's the problem. Because as long as you think like this, nothing's going to change. As long as you carry your cross on your chest, your crucifix, and you go to church on Sundays, once in a blue moon, in funerals and christenings and weddings, and you think that entitles you to change your life is never going to change. I'm sorry. Because the fact that you're a good person doesn't change anything, one iota. Is that how they say it?
That's correct, one iota.
The fact that you are a good person and you believe in God doesn't entitle you to anything. Right? If my dad has a restaurant and you go there and you say, listen, I'm a good person, can you give me some food? Unless you pay, it's not going to happen. But if you go there and you're related to me, that's a different story. So believing in God by itself, being religious, doesn't change your life. You have to realize that there's something wrong and say, hold on a second, I need help. There's no point for me to lie anymore. And that's what you did. Mm-hmm. There came a point when you said, let's stop pretending, let's stop with the pretense. Mm-hmm. I need help. I'm not this perfect little angel. I have serious issues that I need help with. Is that what you did?
Yeah. So, like I said, I wasn't really open. I would speak to people, but I would only speak about the normal things like family, problems in my family, but I wouldn't say what was affecting me on the inside. Mm-hmm. And because of that, there are times I'll still go home, I'll cry, but then I'll come to church, I'll pretend like everything was okay with me. So that was what made me, it took so long for me to change. It took like a year for me to change, because mm-hmm. I only started taking God more seriously this year. So for me, because I wasn't open to speak about the things that happened to me, mm-hmm. or what I was doing or what happened to me, nothing was happening. So.
But when you opened up, when you sought help, mm-hmm. then things started to change.
Yeah.
Today, do you need to seek attention from boys, from girls?
No.
Do you still steal, shoplift?
No.
Finished?
Yes, finished.
What about the hurt and the trauma of the sexual abuse? Have you overcome that as well?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me no more.
That's great. And girls, first of all, thank you for the courage of talking about this, because not everybody is courageous enough to talk about that. So thank you. Please stay here. Don't go. Stay here. Don't go. Okay? Now, you've already noticed that Pastor Michael Boudrum is here with me. I just asked him about the one iota, which I knew it was something along those lines, but I wasn't sure. Pastor Michael Boudrum, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Jay.
And we were talking just a minute ago about how many people think that just because they believe in God, it entitles them mm-hmm. to a change in life. And actually, there are people who are watching us now, religious people, who are angry at me. And it's good that you are, because it means you're alive. Because the worst thing in life is indifference, when you don't care anymore, right? But if you're watching me now, you say, look, I'm angry at what you're saying, because how come me believing in God doesn't change anything? How come me being a good person doesn't change anything? I thought that's what you need to be a good person, but it's not. You have to learn to use your faith. That's what changes lives, right?
Exactly. That view of coming to church and those certain days and just falling into a routine and thinking that I'm right with God, it's an old view. It's a religious view. It's not going to change your life. And if you sit down now and think about your life, you're going to see that your life is stuck. Your life is not moving forward anyway. Sometimes they just rely on those prayers. Mm-hmm. They rely, I go to church, I read my Bible, I'm okay in life. But if you compare yourself to maybe another Christian who is moving forward in life, there's two opposite ends of the scale. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference there. Yeah. So it's about faith. It's not about just doing the routine.
Yeah. Now I wanna tell people about something. The campaign of Israel. I was just thinking how to explain it to you. Think about it. I mean, even if you've never surfed before, you know the principle, right? You lie down on a board, face down, and you wait for a wave, right? And even though there's some waves coming, you don't take those waves. You wait for the big one. But when that wave comes, you better paddle. And you paddle like there's no tomorrow, because if you miss that wave, you might not get another one. But that wave can be the wave of your life. That wave can be that moment that you can't describe to anyone. It probably won't come again for another God knows when. And that's what the campaign of Israel is like. Actually, you have the envelope of the campaign there. Yeah. This envelope, which is an extraordinary envelope, because the campaign of Israel, the greatest of all campaigns that we're having now, is also an extraordinary campaign. It's an opportunity for people to take their request, and you're not writing your request. People will be placing inside that envelope the picture of what they want. Yeah. Right? So, for example, if the person has never been happy in their love life, they're going to put a picture there of a happy couple smiling on the day of their wedding. If the person has never had full health, because Michael, there are people who one day they have problem with their kidneys, the next day the kidneys are fine, but it's pain on their back, they're never well.
Exactly, and we have to put a stop to that. You have to put a stop to that. And that's what the campaign is all about. You know, James, I was thinking of the word campaign. And the dictionary describes it as a military operation for a specific objective. And that's what this is. It's not the military, but it's a spiritual fight against a specific objective.
Yeah.
So the campaign, we're focusing all of our efforts into beating that sickness that you said, that pain that keeps moving from one part of the body to the other, that relationship that ends and you find yourself with someone else and then that relationship ends. And so you're moving from one relationship to another. There's a time that it has to stop, and this campaign is what will change your life.
You know, the premise of this campaign, the reason why we're doing it in the Temple of Solomon, that is just now being finalized in Brazil. I think there's less than 1% to go now. The principle of this campaign is this: when Solomon took over the kingdom of Israel, according to the Bible, he wanted God to do something extraordinary through him. His dad had been the most successful king in Israel ever. And Solomon was very young. He had big shoes to fill, and he knew he couldn't do it without God's help. So what did he do? He built the temple. He built an altar of bronze, brought the ark, which symbolized the presence of God, back to the temple, which is why we have the picture of the ark there in the envelope. And then he presented 142,000 animals as a sacrifice. 42,000, was 42, 22?
22.
22,000 bulls, 22,000 bulls, and 120,000 sheep. That's 142,000 animals. And the altar wasn't big enough. There was no altar in this world that is big enough for those amount of animals. But that sacrifice drew God's attention to him, and that's why, Michael, he said, because of this, even what you didn't ask of me, I will give to you. This is very powerful. When you learn the power of sacrifice in the campaign, of all campaigns, even what you don't ask, God gives to you. This is powerful.
That's why the people who say, oh, God is good, you know, your routine is not going to change your life. Solomon, he produced or sacrificed all of those offerings, those bulls on the altar. He did something extraordinary which brought God's attention to him face to face. You know, he had a conversation with God. So if your life is stuck, then you can't keep going to church Sunday out of routine. You can't keep saying the same type of prayer. You have to do something extraordinary to get God's attention for your life.
Actually, you know, there's a time to pray. The Bible says there's a time to pray, there's a time to act. Usually we always pray at the end of this program, and today we won't. And I'll tell you why. Because if you really want to change your life, and you've heard us speaking about the campaign, you've heard testimonies there about people who sacrificed, who did something extraordinary to get God's attention. If you want to do the same, then this is your opportunity. If you want, you can send us an email and say, look, I want to take part of the campaign. Even if you're not from the church, it doesn't matter. Even if you've never set foot in a church, whether you're a religious person, whether you're not, whether you believe in God or you don't, it doesn't matter. If you believe that you were not born to suffer, then you can take this opportunity. Send us an email if you want to take part of the campaign and you haven't had a chance to know enough about it. We gave you the background here, but of course, time doesn't give us a chance to explain everything. Send us an email with your details. We'll reply back to you explaining more about this campaign of faith, and to prove to you that we are so sure that this is something that can change your life. Every single night for the past almost a week, and until the 13th, which is the day that people will be fulfilling their vows in this campaign, we pastors of the church have been sleeping every night on the altar of the church. And there we have been praying for you. That's right. I have my wife, and 5:30 in the morning when we leave the altar, then we go and see our wives and we stay there with her. But there we are there sleeping on the altar of the church. If you've been to our church, our headquarters, you know, you've seen that altar. And we're praying there for you every night, asking God to do the extraordinary. Are you tired of people telling you that you were born to suffer? Are you tired of saying What have I done to deserve this? It's time to wake up and fight back and get God's attention to change your life. I believe He can. Sarah and Kadiatu have experienced that, and now it's your turn. Your life can be completely different. You can see the extraordinary if you only choose to do the extraordinary as well. Okay? It's been a pleasure to be here with you. We'll be back with you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.